You just look funny. And especially with the over ear headphones too, so it's like you're in it. You know?
No. Yeah. Man, I need some teeth whitening, man. It's like seeing this in HD is like, man, I need to get some Colgate strips.
So you got. So I guess tell the people what you see right now, right? So you got the secondary display, and is it just a normal? It's a normal size as visionOS 1?
Yeah. So this is the Mac Virtual Display visionOS 2 that I'm running right now. But in my opinion, now this could just be anecdotal, and I've heard other people say this, it looks way clearer. Like it's.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be. I don't think it's just like, oh, you're seeing things. I think because it has to do with like the foveated rendering also, and people are saying it's way clearer.
I don't know what it is. Now here's the thing. What gives me a little bit of a pause is because I'm actually using it with contacts, and previously I was using the little inserts. Oh. So now I'm using contacts instead of those little inserts, which I don't know if that's behind like part of the difference. Oh, I'm all the way back here. Sorry, y'all. I can't even hear me. I'm getting too comfortable. So
because you got the screen probably like up here, you're like this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, they're like, what? What are you saying? Man, let me try to. This is just taking.
We could hear you. It sounded farther away.
Basically, I don't know if it's the difference is the fact that I'm wearing contacts and I'm not using the Zeiss inserts, or if it truly is like that much clearer. But it seems like night and day clear, in my opinion. So that it could be a combination of both, I guess.
I know I've been seeing all the stuff on visionOS, and it's like a lot of the things are just simple things that were added, and I guess we could talk about Beta 1 and things like that. But it's making me want to go out there and buy another one, man.
So like what features besides the fact that you can reorganize your home screen? So I do like this little feature right here. This
like
little
hand gesture.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't always work. Oh, there it goes. So you do like that, and then you bring up Control Center. Now Control Center's up, and now I just tap, pinch, and I can change the volume like that.
Yeah, because I remember getting to Control Center before. It was like this weird, like you got to look up and you got to look up at the right speed at the right time. Like, yeah.
I didn't like that. This is better if they can get it working a little bit more consistently, because it doesn't always like see
your hand.
See your hand, right? But it's
and then also and you get the time and the battery, right? It gives you like that information too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, which is nice. So that's that gesture there where you do that, and then it shows you those details.
Yeah, because
I mean,
if you're just looking at it, you don't know what time it is, right?
Oh yeah. Like you'd have to go to Control Center and then see that. Okay, so the best thing about this update, by far, the most mind-blowing thing about Vision Pro, period, in my opinion, is what they added in visionOS 2, and that is spatial photos. And that doesn't sound like a big deal, because we think about spatial videos were a thing initially. That was sort of the big. Spatial photos are more impressive to me, way more impressive, because even though they're not animated, they're static images. It looks so incredibly lifelike. It's just, it's almost startling how like even like skin textures and just like how it's incredible. It's like that person is like literally right in front of you. It's
more so than the spatial video.
Yes, in my opinion, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like a moment in time that's captured there, and it's just different. I don't know what it is, but it's like I guess because with a single photo, like the detail's just there in that one photo. You know what I mean? It's not like they have to generate frames and then try to like compensate.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it definitely makes sense.
I was blown away, but I don't. Well, yeah, I do. I exaggerate a lot, but
I mean, you're excited.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound excited.
I'm telling you. Yeah, that is the coolest thing I've seen on this platform. Period. I was blown away, and it's not just spatial photos. So what you do is you open up the Photos app. Pretty much any photo, like even like screenshots of photos, it'll work with. Like it doesn't have to be a photo.
Like anything. It could be an old like 1950s photo too, and it'll figure it out to an extent.
It's better with. I think it's better quality with the newer iPhones. But even like, I just had like a screenshot of a photo, and it was like, wow, this is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah, it's impressive, and it's something that I would recommend if you go to an app. Well, they're not going to have it in an Apple store because it's beta, right? So you don't.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait a little bit. Probably till September.
Yeah. Wait till September, man. Like,
that's cool.
It's something. Like, it's
so what
something
is
for
it?
real.
Is it kind of just like a? I'm picturing just kind of almost like a portrait mode photo, but on steroids with like a little bit more 3D, where like you can kind of like look behind it, sort of, and around it. And does that make sense or not?
So yeah, so I'm actually just gonna load it up real quick. I'll be quick, but I'm just gonna load up a photo of, let's see, selfies.
That's crazy.
Here's me and Chance. Okay. So there's a button in the upper left-hand corner. There's just it's like a spatial button. It looks like a cube. You just tap that, and it like scans the photo with these sound effects, and then it displays. Here it comes. It displays the photo. It is crazy, right? Like, it's
what I would
like,
do to be able to see what you see right now.
Yeah. So I'm looking at we're in the airport, and I happen to see Chance on a plane at random, and it's coming back from NAB, I believe. So Chance is in the background, and it looks, I mean, yeah, it's incredible, man. It's like a View. You remember the Viewmaster? Those kids' toys? That might be a little bit before yours. Okay.
No, where you can like click in and it goes to the next one. Yeah.
I don't know if
that's
they still make those.
Yeah.
It's like that, which is cool, right? Like, but it's better. It's better.
That makes sense.
And like, there's real depth there, like that you're able to see. I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking about it because I mean, it's kind of pointless to talk about this when no one can see what I'm actually seeing.
I mean, but it's still dope. Like you said, I think you said it in Slack earlier this week, where it's like, imagine just having pictures of like loved ones and almost being able to feel them or feel like you're going to touch them because it's so realistic in front of you and things like that. Like, I could see that going a long way for people.
Yeah, you heard all this stuff about people saying they were almost brought to tears and stuff, and maybe they were. You know, seeing loved ones, especially ones that are no longer with them. I could see that being for real. Like, I was sort of moved just looking at pictures of family and friends. Like, it was moving. Like, I'm not even joking. It was like, wow, this is so. And I was just imagining what it would be like to see pictures of ones that aren't with you, like grandparents and stuff that you lost and stuff like that. So it's pretty. I could see how I could pull at the heartstrings a little bit for sure.
Nah, absolutely.
Yep.
And then I guess what else? Is there anything else from visionOS 2?
There's some kind of like Persona stuff updates.
Okay.
Like, I can't remember exactly. I'm not really into that sort of thing. But again, you can delete and rearrange apps on the home screen. Finally. And there's some other little things here and there, but the things that stuck out to the most are the things I mentioned: the Mac Virtual Display and the little gesture to open up Control Center, and the spatial photos. So, enough about Vision.
Enough about Vision. I guess because I'm sure not a lot of people are gonna be on visionOS 2 Beta 1 right now, but yeah, let's get into the masses then. Let's talk iOS, iPadOS 18. What do you think so far? Because I know we've installed the betas on. The only device I haven't installed a beta on right now is my Mac computer, so my MacBook Air. But everything else has a beta on.
I stupidly installed it on my Mac, and it's probably why my Final Cut Pro exports are failing like crazy. Like, so I installed it on every product I own: Apple TV, Watch, Vision, Pro, Mac, iPad, iPhone. It's on everything.
Okay, fair. I didn't want to go that far, even though I put it on my iPad, which was a little risky, and I'm already seeing kind of the. I haven't had any data loss or anything like detrimental, I would say, but there is like one thing that's bothering me, which is very probably niche, which is, I mean, I guess I could just go into it real quick, but I use LumaFusion to edit all my videos, and for some reason, and I'm actually troubleshooting with them right now to see, it's definitely an iPadOS 18 thing, not a LumaFusion thing. But for some reason, I record video, and it has whatever color science that it has, and it's like, doing its thing. And then when I import it into LumaFusion, for some reason, the video is completely washed out, like way past like raw footage. It feels like somebody turned on the brightness to max, right? And it's so weird. And then I'll still layer on top my normal kind of photo edits and things like my LUTs and stuff. And then when I export it, it exports fine. So it still plays back fine in the Files app. It plays back fine in QuickTime, plays back fine in the Photos app, but only in the LumaFusion like viewfinder it looks crazy, and it throws me off because I feel like I'm editing something incorrectly when in reality, once I export it, it's fine.
Yeah,
So
it's probably
like
one of
thing.
those, like the API that the LumaFusion interacts with to show the viewer. I don't know. Like I'm sure there's some changes there that probably just need to be addressed in their updates.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's the downside about running a beta.
Exactly. So that's why we always say install your own risk, because even though, I mean, outside of that, it's pretty stable. I haven't had any real issues with it. Like all the apps are working, all the features that shipped with beta 1 are working. I know a lot of features did not ship with beta 1 across the board. We can talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, overall the betas have been relatively stable. Battery life has been okay across all the devices for me. But I mean, what do you think? How's your experience been?
It's been pretty stable. I haven't had any major problems. Like there was one weird one with my iPad. It's saying that my screen is not an original screen. Like it's the weirdest thing.
Crazy.
It's saying like, did you replace your display or something? It thinks my display is not Apple original, which is weird. So
yeah,
that's one thing that I'm experiencing. But other than that, I haven't really noticed any like show-stopping bugs so far.
No, yeah, and I guess I've had the only app crash I've had is in Notes, when there's a new feature in the Notes application which we touch on. I'm sure you touch on the iOS 18 video, the collapsible headers.
Oh, I love those.
Right, amazing. But every time I create one, and then the little caret shows up for the collapsible part, the moment I touch it, it crashes Notes.
It crashes. Yeah, I've experienced that too. Yeah. I've experienced that too.
It fixes itself after I reopen it and opens up instantly. So again, it's not a big deal, but it's just like that's a one instance I've seen so far that for some reason that action closes out the Notes app.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. It's that's funny.
So,
but I mean, overall, it's been pretty stable. All right, so what is the one feature, you can only pick one across this entire update that you are like, yes, finally?
How about, okay, let's do two. One that's like wow for a lot of people, and then one that's like very specific to your needs, right?
Okay, fair enough.
So for me, the specific one to my personal needs is, so I think iOS 17 or 16 introduced the ability to copy and paste your edits in Photos. So you can like mass copy and then or you can copy the edits that you did in one photo and then mass paste them across a bunch of photos that are relatively similar, and that was awesome. But the one thing that wouldn't copy over was a crop, which kind of makes sense because photos are different. You don't want to, crops could be different on different sizes and things like that. But they brought that over. So they actually separated it in the Photos app. When you, let's say you copy or you edit a photo, you copy it, and then you go to paste it, you actually have the ability to toggle which parts you want actually pasted over. So you can toggle on the crop ratio, and you can toggle off all the actual edits and like the formula, whatever you're using. And then there's also adaptive copying and pasting, which I'm not 100% sure what that does, but that's another toggle you can turn off and on. But the crop one was one that, again, not a lot of people are going to care about it, but for me, that's a big one.
Huh, I did not. So my video is basically kind of a general overview of the top 18 apps. Yeah, it is. It's long. But it's more of a general, like, sort of press release sort of overview. Yeah. It's not that in-depth one that I normally do, but I am going to do that, and I'm sure I'll find all those little details once I do. Oh, yeah. But that's interesting. That's cool. Like, no,
I love that.
That's a good. So you love that, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. So what would be your second feature then?
I guess a more like widespread one. It'd probably have to be with all the iMessage updates just like quality of life, like being able to schedule messages out, being able to react with more than just the haha and the thumbs up and thumbs down. What else did we get in there? Being able to add, I guess, what's it called? Animations to each individual word that you type out. So I think just iMessage in general just gets a little bit better. And I liked all the nice new quality of life updates that iMessage got. And we haven't even gotten the Genmoji stuff, and which again I don't really play with to begin with, but that'll be fun to play with for like the day that it comes out.
Yeah, that would be, that's gonna be cool. Like, and that's kind of the thing. It feels sort of, I won't say underwhelming, but like a lot. Like the most important feature is not shipping with beta 1, so it's kind of weird because, I mean, wouldn't you agree that the new AI stuff?
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it at all. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't exist until, they release it. But
no, I agree. They should have even added. They didn't even add the new Siri animation because I guess they want to wait for it to be correlated to the AI stuff. But I agree. Like it feels like, it just feels like it's not the whole update because I'm sure they didn't spend. I mean, they spent a lot of time talking about Apple Intelligence and how it's going to make your life better. Yeah, they kept it to the end of the keynote, but it was the whole back half of it, because I guess it encompassed all of Apple's hardware and software. So I'm curious to know when they release all that stuff. I could see them really pushing. Like, what if this ends up being an 18.1 update that we get in like October or November? I can also see that happening. So a lot of it, like you said, not underwhelming, just like. A lot of it just lacks the wow factor, and I think it's because of the fact that iOS 18 or iOS is just like fully matured. There's only so much you can do, feature wise, and the big AI piece was what people wanted.
Yeah, I agree. I can't say I was blown away by anything on iOS, but there are some nice features, like you mentioned, messages. That's the obvious one that I think all of us I wanted to schedule messages forever.
Yeah,
I've been using shortcuts to send those, and that's always been super annoying, like to set up a shortcut just for a scheduled message. But now to have that natively is really, really nice. The niche feature would be, I'm trying to think in my list here. I wouldn't say this is niche necessarily. All right, so this is my finally feature. It's the calendar app. The calendar integration with the reminders. That is, to me, that is one of the best features in this entire update. The calendar was basically worthless up until now. It was worthless if you like to use a calendar in month view. It was completely worthless because the only thing it would display is a dot if you had something scheduled on that day. Nothing else. Like, it's just a dot. I don't even think it told you what calendar it was. Did it? I don't think the dot was just a grade.
I think it's just like based on color, but you have to know what calendar is what color.
Oh, so it did that? I didn't even think it did that.
Maybe it didn't. I guess I didn't really use up until now because I am playing with it now. But the calendar app, I would use Google Calendar just because it was better.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, no. So it doesn't even. It's just gray dots. Just gray dots.
Oh, that's
all
annoying.
It is. Just gray dots, and all these things have different colors to them. There'll be multiple events on certain days, and you would have no idea. I mean, how is this worth anything? But now it's good.
It's a real calendar app.
Yeah, because in the month view, you can actually see, even if you have it compressed, you see the color of the calendars, how many items are there, and then you can just simply pinch out and then actually see the actual events in the calendar. You can actually read it right there. That's it's like Google Calendar has done that for who knows how long,
since 2004.
Yeah, so that is like the definite finally thing. But not just that, now they integrated it with the reminder, so you can actually create a reminder right in the calendar app. And when you create a reminder in reminders, it also appears in the calendar. So it's just a synergy between those two apps that is a long time coming. I never really used reminders and calendar because I just felt like they were two siloed apps, and it never made sense to me. It never made sense to why is this separate? It just didn't make sense. So now I'll probably start using it.
No, I agree. So, like that. it was one of those things that, like, first, like you said, like, why is reminders and calendars not talking to each other when it's like I'm reminding myself to do something on a certain day, you know? Or like, remember to go pick this up on Friday, or like, remember to go whatever. So yeah, now that it's all kind of combined, and I think Apple is they want people to just be using Apple native apps, obviously, and I think they're just making it easier to kind of go that route. Because for me, depending on what situation I was in, I would say I was like 60% Apple native apps, and the rest, like, I would use the Gmail app instead of the Mail app. I would use Google Calendar instead of calendars. I would use Spotify over Apple Music. Like, there's certain things. I would use Google Maps over Apple Maps just because they were kind of better, right? For lack of a better, like, that's what I was used to, and that's what I've been doing. But now they're bringing all those kind of features that were low-hanging fruit, that were easy to just implement, and now bringing them over to the native apps. And with the new color changes and customizations, the dark mode is only on the Apple native apps, if you've noticed, or at least it only looks good on Apple native apps.
Yeah, until the developers get their access to that. Well, they already do, but now they just have to be able to ship their app once iOS 18 goes live. But yeah, I agree. Like, I think that the home screen changes, I'm not super excited for. Like, it's cool, but I do like the fact that now I could put a widget anywhere on the iPhone, like you could do on the iPad, and I like the fact that you can now put icons anywhere on both platforms, which is super nice. But it's not something that's like, wow. This is another wow thing, though, is the fact you can search your call history now, which never made sense to me that you couldn't do that before. Yeah, you can search your call history, and it not only shows the search results for the calls, it shows search results for contacts and voicemails in there, even transcription. So if you say Apple and someone mentions Apple in the transcription, that'll pull up in that search.
That's crazy.
And when you receive a voicemail, now it sends to you sort of like almost looks like a text message. When you receive a transcription, it actually, the notification is the transcription, which is cool.
That is nice. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I guess it's like little things like that, the quality of life updates to make your life a little bit easier. There was another one that I had on the tip of my tongue. Right,
so I did text out that adaptive. So that's what that is it's like it will try to mimic the exposure and the I think a white balance of the other photos. So it's basically saying that means that the sliders may not match exactly because it's compensating for it's trying to match
some
up.
Differentiation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool. I didn't know that feature. So
it's nice, right?
Yeah.
Little things, man, little things. But hold on, I definitely had something enhanced dialogue for Apple TV. So it came across. So I don't know if this is like something that a lot of people deal with, but whenever you're watching like an action movie, especially at home, like I feel like the sound and the music and is just way louder than the voices.
If you watch any what is the dude's name that makes he made that movie Tenet, and I mean he made I think the Batman movie. Yeah, like his movies are notorious for that. You can never hear
like it's awesome for a movie theater setting, but the second you take it home, it's like, especially again if you have like a toddler and you're trying to like listen to this movie and you have to like play it so loud. So the enhanced audio or the enhanced dialogue and boost dialogue, there's two versions of it, is across across like the TV application. So I was testing it on my iPad because I didn't put it on TV. I didn't update tvOS, but I can see that being really, really helpful when I'm watching something on Apple TV because it sounds really good on the iPad. And it almost sounds like it's lowering the background noise as opposed to increasing the voice volume, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Because I haven't tried the screen like control. Does that work? The share place thing where you can control somebody's screen?
Oh, I tried to do it with my wife's iPad, but I don't think it works unless you're both on iPadOS 18. Because she's got a 2018 iPad Pro, and it's still running iOS or iPadOS 17, and it wouldn't work.
So you haven't actually tried that? I want to try that, man. I'm like, what is that? Because I tried it. I guess it doesn't work on the phone. Is it just an iPad exclusive thing?
It's got to be an iPad exclusive thing.
Because let me see here.
Should we try live here?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
I'm gonna FaceTime you. Hopefully it doesn't switch my headphones out.
All right. What is up?
That's so funny. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm gonna mute myself.
All right, so can I? Oh yeah, let me mute myself too. So how do you do that? Let's see. Oh, there we go.
There's a share my screen and then ask to share.
I'm gonna ask to share you. So. Okay.
What do you see?
I see Fernando's iPad, but you so you have to close out, or I guess minimize. There you go. Okay, so I see the little lights, hanging lights things.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can request to control. That's the thing.
Dang, he's just gonna take control, huh?
I don't think you can.
No. What do you have your Apple Pencil on there or no?
I don't. Do I need to?
Yeah. No, because remember there was 2 versions of it. You could like point out different things. And then you could also take control.
Yeah, but I think let me see.
Yeah, I'm asking to share for you now. See if that works. Because I have my pencil in front of me. Interesting. But I could definitely see this being beneficial for people, especially like when
for sure.
Because I'm sure you and I are like our family's geek squad, you know. So like whenever my mom needs help with something, whenever my brothers are asking for something, I could just like walk them through it via FaceTime, which will be cool. And I'm sure it will come to iPhone. It's got to come to iPhone.
You would think. I mean, you seem like you have more questions on there. I don't think. Yeah, but I don't think it's obviously not.
It's not right now, really.
Live yet. Yeah. So
add it to the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, iPadOS 18. I didn't get any crazy, like you said, wow features. I guess the calculator, the math notes, that's kind of a wow feature, and it was something that I could definitely see myself I would have loved it back in like middle school and high school for sure.
Yeah, right. I'm thinking the same thing.
So I mean, what do you think about the math notes? Have you played with it at all or no?
I have a little bit. I think it's cool, like algebraic expressions and stuff like that, being able to do that and have it solve for you, solving for X, whatever. Like
you can like graph stuff, which is cool. So like y equals
I didn't try that.
And I don't know why the like y equals mx plus b, like that formula just was like thrown back into my head. I felt like I was 12 again or 13.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Remember please. Oh man. But yeah, it's cool. It's definitely like a cool feature, and they definitely showed off some awesome demos. I didn't get as crazy. Like they were doing some physics problems, and using different variables and stuff like that. And it is dynamic. Like you can like change the value of variables. And it's cool.
That's what I really like. I think that is cool because like you can just make a basically off the cuff spreadsheet almost to a degree. I mean, not really a spreadsheet, but just assigning variables to various things and then adding them up or doing other arithmetic with those variables. It's really cool. And you can use this in free form as well, which, speaking of which, that's one of my sleeper apps. Like, I don't think people realize how cool that app is.
Nobody talks about that app. I mean, I don't really talk about it that much either. That's when it first came out.
So it is like just a infinite canvas for everything. And the cool thing about this update, before, like if you had an item way over here and then you had an item way over here, you would have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll to get to it. But now you have these what they call scenes. So you can set a scene for a particular area of the freeform board and then quickly jump between those. So it's still the same board, but it's just different areas of the board. It's like coordinates, getting coordinates and going directly to those coordinates. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool. No, because that's so true. When you would zoom out or zoom in, when you would zoom in all the way, it would take you forever to get from one corner to the other, depending on what was going on. So that's definitely a nice little touch. And the fact that it has the math notes built into it, I'm sure that's going to be awesome for like collaboration in school and stuff. I just don't see I wonder what our use case is as content creators. Probably not much.
For math notes?
Yeah, for math notes. Maybe teaching my daughter at some point how to solve 1+1, show her what's going on. But that's
I could see using that. Like, I could see using it is, I do a lot of spreadsheets for like just finance and stuff like that.
True.
So I could kind of see that being useful in some ways. But always remember that this is like 1.0, and Apple, like for whatever reason, they always start off slow and then they ramp it up. Yeah. And same thing with the Journal app. Like the Journal app was so incredibly basic before, and it's still basic, but now at least we have things like search, which is just the most
crazy that wasn't in there.
Search. Now you can actually make a title for your journal entry.
Yeah, because before it was just like, before it was just all right, entry, start your entry, write it down, leave a picture, okay, you're good. And then it was just like a forever ongoing list of all your journal entries that you couldn't really filter through. So, no, the update to the Journal app, update to Freeform, Math Notes, update to Notes, everything just got a little bit better, a little bit more. The feature set expanded a little bit more. So I'm overall happy with it, but like you said, the big missing piece is the AI stuff. I'm very curious to see how all that gets kind of brought into the fold, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious about it.
So there is one more sleeper feature that I wanted to talk about that I think is an absolute game changer in a lot of ways. That is the accessibility feature to create your own voice commands, like basically creating your own Siri, pretty much. Instead of having to say Siri, blah blah blah, you can create any command. You can record your own keyword basically for invoking any Siri command or any shortcut. So I could assign search. I did this actually. I searched 9 to 5. That was let me see if I can just pull it up. I'll show you right here. So that's the benefit of watching the live show on, or not a live show, but the show on YouTube, because
you see what's going on.
Search 9 to 5. Of course, it's not going to. Of course. Search 9 to 5. Come on, man. Why? It always happens. Like,
I got nervous in the moment.
Let me just see real quick. Let's see, accessibility. Oh, that might be why.
Accessibility wasn't turned on?
Well,
or voice command, voice recording, or
so here it is, voice shortcuts. Here I can't see that, but so search 9 to 5. Huh? Weird.
But I can see it being beneficial. To literally just create whatever you want at any point. Yeah, so it asks you to repeat your phrase 3 times, and then so you can confirm that phrase. And now it's like, now you have you don't just have to rely on saying Siri anymore. You can say lots of different things to execute various actions and shortcuts. Super cool. I'm a fan of that, for sure. And then the last thing I do want to bring up is watchOS, because this is the first time I've ever installed a beta onto my watch. I don't really know why I hadn't done it before, but the biggest thing, because I've been very big into my like running and fitness and whatever. I'm surprised you did
that, man.
So the new training load is all about what's it called? It's basically measuring intensity. That's what's going on, right? So it's measuring how hard you're working, how hard the workout was compared to the previous one, compared to a trend of a previous week or previous month, and it'll let you know what type of impact that's having on your body, right? Like if you have 3 days in a row where your trend is 50% over what you normally do, it'll tell you to slow down, because like, hey, you don't want to go crazy that often, and vice versa. If you're kind of going below your normal trend, it'll be like, hey, pick it up, stop being lazy, So between that and then the new Vital app, which is kind of just a consolidation of the most important vitals, I guess, like your heart rate, your steps, your VO2, things like that, all just consolidated into one view to let you know how you're doing each day. Again, I'm a little bit in between because I love all that data, but then too much data sometimes can kind of freak you out in terms of this being gospel. Like, oh, if your heart rate is a little low one day or a little high, you're like, oh, something's wrong with me. So just like be careful with how much data you're consuming and what you're actually getting out of it. Just like focus on the trends overall.
All right, so let's end it on this, because we always complain, and we're going to just change the name to this 9 to 5 complainers.
Yeah.
But what is your biggest disappointment? And it's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just like, what is the thing that you were hoping for that did not show up?
I guess about kind of the iPadOS. The biggest headliner was the math notes. That was like the wow feature of the entire thing, which was cool. Don't get me wrong, very cool, but something that I'm just not going to be using outside of demoing it to people. So I just wish there was a little bit more focus on stage manager improvements, secondary monitor support improvements, Files app. There was one Files thing that came about, which was being able to persistently keep something saved offline from iCloud, which is, I guess, a new feature. But outside of that, everything kind of remained the same. So I just wish there was a bigger focus on the Pro part of iPad Pro and iPadOS.
I would agree. That's exactly my biggest disappointment as well. No new stage manager features, and just no external monitor features.
Yeah.
I was hoping that they would make the iPad work with Vision Pro too. Like, I would be like to be able to use the iPad's display as an external or a iPad virtual
as a
display.
Source, like a source display. Yeah.
But it's not a bad update. It's just those are some things that I wish there would have been more focus on the the productivity side of the fence.
Yeah. Again, it's just Apple. I don't know if they do it on purpose. Again, I don't know what their end game is with their product. So I guess we just kind of waiting and seeing for right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Again, still love my iPad. Still going to use it all the time. I'm going to keep it positive. It's still my number one computer. It's still my favorite piece of hardware. I just wish Apple treated it that way.